Bob Barsky, and this is Eddie Van Dog. We're from New York City, and good morning, America.
Bob, and did he say Eddie Van Dog?
It sure sounded like it.
He did. Good morning to you both and everybody. I'm David Hartman.
And I'm Joan Lunden. It is Monday, November 17th.
Ivan Boesky, big-time Wall Street speculator, agreed last week to pay a penalty of $100 million. Part of the government's insider trading case for illegally trading on inside information on Wall Street. The amount of the fine is unprecedented. It has stunned the financial community. We'll find out what it means from John Shadd, chairman of the SEC, and Susan Lee, senior editor at Forbes magazine.
We will also meet the family that we've all been hearing so much about that came to this country from the Soviet Union, then went back to Russia, and now has come back to America. A series on Star Trek, the show, the crew, Captain Kirk, Spock, Bones, and Scotty, all of them. And then a little later this morning, Neil Diamond. And we will also see the first in a series of special reports from John Stossel with some surprising results, those Consumer Reports.
That's on, today on running shoes, I think running shoes today.
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pure and Natural, soap that's pure and natural and nothing else.
7:30.
Hi.
Hi, that's Joan Lunden. I'm David Hartman. Will Eugene Hassenfuss be allowed to come home to America? He was captured in Nicaragua last month after the crash of the plane carrying supplies to the rebel forces, the Contra forces they're called down there.
So a classic was born, taking us where no man had ever gone before. That's a little clue. All this week, we will take you aboard the Starship Enterprise with all your old friends Kirk and McCoy and Spock and Bones and Zulu and Uhura. What's really hard to believe is that Star Trek only ran for 3 years, and then it went on into syndication, and then, of course, on to the movies. This week, we will beam you aboard and tell you the whole Star Trek story. Right now, though, it is 7:31, and Steve Bell has the news for us. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
I'd look at Star Trek when we come back.
Right now, Eugene Hassenfuss' future is still uncertain. He was the lone survivor of that U.S. cargo plane that crashed in Nicaragua early in the month.
It is now 47 after all. This week, we are going to be looking at the phenomenon known as Star Trek, the TV series, the movies, the cast, and of course the razzle-dazzle special effects. In a few moments, an interview with Mr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, but first an overview from Mr. Siegel, Joel, that is.
Off the air for 20 years, but no TV series before or since has had the devoted, relentless, fanatical fans Star Trek has. They are called Trekkies. I am not one of them, which allows me to view the phenomenon with some objectivity.
Space, the final frontier.
Myth. Star Trek was a hit TV show taken off the air before its time by Klingon TV executives. Truth. Star Trek was never a hit TV show. In 3 seasons on NBC, it never cracked the top 25. In 1966, it was on Thursday nights opposite My Three Sons on CBS and Bewitched here on ABC, the number 8 rated show. The next season, it moved to Fridays. It was opposite Gomer Pyle, the nation's number 3 rated show. True fans are called Trekkies. They meet in conventions, publish learned texts, lists of casts, plots, and idiosyncrasies. A fan knows Mr. Spock never smiles. A Trekkie knows exactly when and where he did. A Trekkie knows what a tribble is, a furry creature, a living smoke alarm who knows when an evil Klingon is about. But only a Trekkie knows how many there are.
Hundreds of thousands. 1,771,561.
You say, bang, zoom! That's the Ralph Cramden approach to Warp Drive, and The Honeymooners are the only other TV series that spawned a similar group of super loyal fans. They hold conventions, they've unearthed lost episodes, they've kept their hallowed traditions alive, and their show on the air, like their brother Trekkies. But Star Trek is the only TV series in history that's moved lock, stock, and force field to the movies, where the 3 Star Trek features have grossed $240 million. And more proof of Star Trek's unique place in America's imagination. NASA named this test shuttle the Enterprise.
My friends, I can't ask you to go any further. Dr. McCoy and I have to do this. The rest of you do not.
Admiral, we're losing precious time.
What course, please, Admiral?
Mr. Scott?
I'd be grateful, Admiral, if you'd give the word.
Gentlemen, may the wind be at our backs. Stations, please.
And the wind has blown fair for Captain Kirk. Star Trek IV opens the day before Thanksgiving. There will be lines, 1 million hardcore Trekkies camping out all night to be the first to see it. All this week we'll be meeting and talking with the Star Trek crew. Tomorrow morning, Joan will be beamed from our studio on board the Starship Enterprise, which is somewhere in the far reaches of the universe, a strange, exotic, dangerous place called Hollywood. It's 10 minutes before the hour, and Joan will be back with Leonard Nimoy, or Mr. Spock, if you will, after this from Magnavox.
Well, the crew of the Starship Enterprise is blasting off again, traveling to where no man has gone before. And that means there's another Star Trek movie. It is called Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. Leonard Nimoy is back as Mr. Spock, and he's back as our guest. It's nice to have you here. I've had more fun looking not only at this movie, but behind the scenes of the movie. For all the Trekkies out there who are hanging on your every word, how much can you tell us about what the movie is about?
Well, in the 23rd century, which is the time of Star Trek, Earth is in terrible trouble. We, the crew of the Enterprise, have to go back 300 years in time to now to pick up something here on Earth that no longer exists in the 23rd century and carry it into the 23rd century to save the planet.
And if anyone wants to stop and think about that for a minute, there's a lot of humorous implications there, and you really do use those, and that's really something kind of fresh and new also.
Yeah, we've done some pretty serious and heavy drama in the last three films, lots of life and death and Sturm und Drang and operatic emotions and stuff like that, and we decided it was time to lighten up.
All right, we have a scene from the movie. I want to show them right now. Spock and Kirk are in San Francisco, and that's definitely another world to them.
I believe I shall begin by making use of this map. I have the distance and bearing which were provided by Commander Uhura. If we juxtapose our coordinates, we should be able to find our destination, which lies at 283.7 degrees.
I think we'll find what we're looking for at the Station Institute in Sausalito. A pair of humpbacked whales named George and Gracie.
How do you know this?
Simple logic.
Does it mean exact change?
Let's do a little bit of folklore, okay? Star Trek folklore, because a lot of people had a lot of questions they wanted me to ask you. Let's start with the handshake. Am I doing it right?
The handshake?
You do it. The Vulcan,
you mean this?
I mean the hand side.
That. If you can't do it, you're in a lot of trouble. The first time we introduced that into one of the episodes, it was an episode called A Mock Time, where we had to go back to Spock's home planet of Vulcan because Spock was engaged to be married. The lady that I was doing the scene with, she had to do it, and she had trouble. She struggled with it, and we got her hand in the position off camera, just like I'm doing right now, and hit it, and got it ready, so that when it came time to do it, she had it ready, and she just popped it. It comes from an Orthodox Jewish ceremonial gesture. This is the shape. This is actually the shape of the letter Shin in the Hebrew alphabet. And that letter is the first letter in the word Shaddai, which means the Almighty. So the suggestion is they're using a symbol of the Almighty's name when they bless the congregation.
How strange has it been for you to really be able to see yourself there in living color on screen as you grow older over the years? Because none of the rest of us have
Well, it's
that
quite
happen to us.
extraordinary.
Yeah.
It's quite extraordinary, really. And in a way, I feel a great sense of accomplishment. You know, to still be around and still be acceptable doing it for so long, and for people who want to still continue to see it for so long. I think in this picture in Star Trek IV, the work that I did as Spock is the most relaxed I've ever done, and certainly the interaction between myself and the other characters is the most comfortable I've ever been, and I think it is because of the passage of time. There are some things that happened between us, particularly between Bill Shatner and myself in this movie, that could only happen after working together for 20 years.
I have a hunch that we'd all be a lot happier discussing this over dinner.
You guys like Italian?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
No. Yes.
No.
Yes. I love Italian.
And so do you.
Yes.
I never dreamed that I would have this kind of longevity in this thing. When we made the series in 66, 67, 68, we were a moderate success, never really a hot show. It wasn't until the syndication, 72, 3, 4, that the show really started to take off and became, and still is, the #1 syndicated show in television history. It's quite an accomplishment. I feel very proud of being part of that.
Well, it's such a wonderful series, and it has such great, it's really got great values and the morals that people learn from, and it's really enjoyable seeing it once again, even 20 years later. Nice to see you.
Thank you, and nice to see you.
We'll be back in just a moment.
And tomorrow, a tour of Star Trek's USS Enterprise. Later in the morning, this morning, Billie Jean King.
Hi, I'm John. I'm Selena. I'm Maggie.
I'm Zach, and we're from Asheville, North Carolina.
Good morning, America.
Hey, good morning, you all, and everybody. I'm David Hartman.
And I'm Joan Lunden. It is Tuesday, November 18th.
Ted Bundy, convicted murderer, scheduled to die today in the electric chair in the state of Florida, but he has been granted a last-minute stay of execution. The death penalty remains a very controversial, certainly very emotional issue in our country. In a few minutes, we'll hear the arguments for and against capital punishment. And yesterday, there were reports that the president of North Korea, Kim Il-sung, had been murdered. This morning, he is apparently very much alive. There were some news pictures. We assume they're accurate, but we're not positive. What is going on behind the scenes of this controversy in Korea? We'll find out.
Then a little bit later, I'm going to be beamed up today. We'll take you aboard the Starship Enterprise to meet the crew as we continue our week-long behind-the-scenes look at Star Trek, the TV series and the movies. Then working women. We will get two very different opinions of their effect on the family. Then a little bit later this morning, David Burney and Meredith Baxter Burney, and also John Stossel looks at some of the best and worst toys.
Morning. Two guys. When we saw these television programs, we saw some of the best adventures on television. In a few minutes, we're going to go on a tour of the Enterprise with Joan, the Joan on my left, and we'll meet the crew, Spock, Kirk, Sulu, Scotty, and the rest.
I get a chance to say, energize. We'll see what happens. Also, coming up, Dr. Tim Johnson is going to be along with some important medical news for parents. Right now, though, it is 7:30, and Steve Bell has a news for us.
Energize, Steve.
Steve.
And that crew in just a couple of minutes. We'll be right back.
Today's good health information has been brought to you by Advil.
Yesterday, I talked with Leonard Nimoy, or as he is better known to Star Trek devotees, Mr. Spock, commander on board the Starship Enterprise. You know, I've always wanted to tour that trusty spaceship that's gone where no spaceship has gone before. You too? Well, it's docked at Paramount Studios in Hollywood, and Leonard Nimoy told me the sure way to get on board would be to stand up and say just one word, energize. It worked. Scotty. Scotty. Oh, is this great?
Well, it's a great pleasure to welcome you aboard, lassie.
So this is the Starship Enterprise.
Aye. Should I give you a wee tour of the rest of the ship?
Oh, I would love that. Where are we going? This is great.
I must explain that every floor has a different color, so we know exactly where we are at any one time. But now, I would really like you to have a visit with Dr. McCoy. He's a grand person, and why don't we just send you in there with him?
To sick bay?
To sick bay.
Okay, I'll go chat for a while.
All
I'll
right,
catch
love.
up with you, okay?
I'm not a magician, Spock, just an old country doctor.
I would describe him as basically as they say, a country doctor. A guy who happens to be on board this ship for some secretive reason, who disagrees with all the modern futuristic type of thing that is coming ahead, that he likes to get back to the old bedside manner.
Do you know what you get if you feed a tribble too much?
A fat tribble.
No. You got a whole bunch of hungry little troubles.
Hi. Oh, I had a great talk with Dr. McCoy.
Oh, he's a grand man. There's no doubt about that. But I tell you, now I have to show you something that you'll really find fascinating.
All right, show me the way.
All right.
Oh, look at this. Now, where are we?
We're in my engine room, my dear.
All right, what powers this engine? What powers the Starship Enterprise?
Well, the whole thing is powered by warp engines, which are run by dilithium crystals, the matter and the antimatter. And from there, of course, you get the final answer. You go into warp speed.
Kirk here.
Captain, the impulse engine's control circuits are fused solid.
What about the warp drive control circuits?
All right, we can cross-connect the controls, but it'll make the ship almost impossible for one man to handle.
Worry about your miracle, Scotty. I'll worry about mine. Get to work.
Aye, sir.
There is a replica, I think it's about 11-foot replica in the Smithsonian of the Starship Enterprise.
13.6 feet.
Okay, 13.6 feet.
And it is the only piece of fiction in the whole place.
What is it about this ship that is so special?
Honey, I don't know. It just has to do with an awful lot of particularly vibrant kind of love that goes on between a family of actors who portray a show and the people whose living room we enter. What else can we do but return the love? And I do my best to return it every chance I get, certainly.
It's very special. It's what dreams are made of.
Yeah.
Being guided through these hallowed halls, you could almost forget you were on a studio lot and not hurtling millions of miles through blackest space. My next stop, the bridge to meet the crew of the Enterprise. Join me there in a couple of minutes.
And I'm Don Pardo. When last we left Joan, she was on board the Starship Enterprise, about to meet the cast of Star Trek, the same cast that's made the TV series and movies come alive, as they say. And that includes the new Star Trek movie called The Voyage Home, being filmed in San Francisco.
Spock, the rest of you stay here. And the rest of you break up. You look like a cadet review.
This is the first time since the series when there is individual focus on the characters. When the dialogue is written for the characters. I'm talking, obviously, you know, when you're talking about the three starring roles, you know you're going to get very specific dialogue. But for the supporting actors as well, dialogue is indigenous to those characters. So that we each have a moment in the sun, so to speak.
Or two or three.
Yeah.
Can you
help us? Please, we're looking for the naval base in Alameda. Could you tell me where the nuclear vessels are?
Ooh, I don't know if I know the answer to that. I think it's across the bay, in Alameda.
That's what I said, Alameda. I know that.
But where is Alameda?
1986, that's the 20th anniversary of Star Trek. Did any of you ever dream that you would still be doing the same characters all these years later?
Never had a doubt about it. Of course, nobody knew.
But what we were saying then was that this show probably will end after the first season because it's too good for television.
It's too good.
Yeah. There was quality that we smelled here. There was
script.
integrity that we saw here.
Yeah.
We felt the caring.
Yes, and at the same time, it follows the first law of show business. It's not only a show that has great dignity and character and quality.
Did you ever hear of the Doomsday Machine?
No, I'm a doctor, not a mechanic.
It's a weapon built primarily as a bluff. It's never meant to be used. So strong, it could destroy both sides in a war.
But it follows that first law of show business, and that's to entertain.
Right.
It's a high adventure. We're going in peaceful exploration, but every week there was a great adventure.
Oh, we just can't stand around while our ship is being attacked. Scotty, you've got to get me some maneuvering power.
I can't repair warp drive without a space dock.
Then get me impulse power, half speed, quarter speed, anything. If we can get this Hulk moving, maybe we can do something.
Aye.
The impulse engines are still in fair shape. I might coax them and get moving.
New York Times did a review of you all in Star Trek 3, and they said, quote, "The regulars have learned to relax and stop trying to look as young as they did in the TV series days, and consequently, much of the poignancy of this film derives from its acknowledgement of the passing of time." How comfortable are all you with that passage of time?
Obviously, a lot of time had elapsed from the TV series to the motion picture, and we looked different, so it would have been very awkward for us to do that. But it was a continuation of that whole philosophy of Star Trek, change. And with that passage of time comes, hopefully, growth, acquisition of more knowledge, and hopefully wisdom with the passage of time, death, you know, the loss that comes with it.
Perhaps we could cover a little philosophical ground. Life, death, life, things of that nature. I did not have time on Vulcan to review the philosophical disciplines. Come on, Spock, it's me, McCoy. It would be impossible to discuss the subjects without a common frame of reference. You mean I have to die to discuss your insights on death?
There is no greater exploration thrill than space. Speaking for myself, I am constantly getting mail from young people who are now in medicine because of McCoy. And those things alone make it worthwhile to you. You think, why in the hell am I here? What am I doing? You know? But when you get a letter like that, it makes it all worthwhile.
Tomorrow, more treats for Trekkies. Joan continues her visit with the cast of Star Trek. They reminisce about their favorite episodes. And right now it's 4 minutes before 8. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow, Senator Barry Goldwater.
It's The Late Show starring Joan Rivers. Joan's guests tonight are William Shatner. From Entertainment Tonight, Mary Hart, singer Elle DeBarge, and from Paris, Chanel model Inez de la Présence. Marky Hudson with the Party Boys and the Tramp. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Joan Rivers!
A great show, which you've probably heard Clint say already. We have Chanel model backstage. Let me say her name right. Inez de la Présence. Great looking and wearing a $50,000 suit. Tell me about it. She is the best thing on a runway since the 747. I mean, thin and great. Then we have singer Elle DeBarge, which is great. We have Mary Hart from Entertainment Tonight. Yeah, you might as well. Yes, it is. And William Shatner from Star Trek. A lot of us went over this morning. We saw the Star Trek 4 movie, and we've been running around all day going, Star Trek, Star Trek. And Bev, our tramp, was going around going, Star Trek, Star Trek. And I said, no. I said... Let me explain the difference to you once and for all, Beverly. Star Trek is the name of the movie, and Star Trek is the name of your autobiography. So that's now she understands. Because I love it. How many of you are Star Trek enthusiasts? Yeah. I love it when they say things like, they go places where man has never been, which means my bedroom. Because every night I say to Edgar, beam me up, and he goes, anyhow, Anyhow, what I wanted to show you tonight was, instead of finishing the monologue, some fan from Indiana, I want to thank very much, sent me this, and we'll see if we can get it closer, from it's from the Tribune Star, okay? It's an Indiana newspaper, the Tribune Star, Saturday, November 1st, and in it there is a picture of, I thought, can you see this? Mrs. Reagan and me, and it says, Joan Collins and guest Nancy Reagan. Now, first of all, thank you, Indiana, for mistaking me for Joan Collins, but I'm kind of surprised you did, because how can you think I was Joan Collins because I'm not lying down? But it's just... Oh, grow up. But I thought, being a doctor's daughter, I will give you a little kind of lecture on the difference, how you can tell a Joan Collins from a Joan Rivers. You've heard of the birds and the bees. Well, I am going to give you the birds and the pigs. I'm going to ask Sandy Testosterone, our stage manager, to bring out Joan Collins. Thank you very much. Could you take this away? Thank you, Sandy. Okay, now. Let me explain. This woman gives her body freely. This woman can't find a taker. Okay. This woman lives life in the fast lane. This woman is looking for bus change. This woman's roots are in England. This woman's roots are at Mr. Kenneth. This woman's underarms, as you can see, are slender and gorgeous. This woman's underarms, I need an 18-wheeler roll-on deodorant. This woman has the neck of a swan. This woman is sweating out Thanksgiving. And let me tell you, the best way to put it, when you think of Joan Collins, you little devil, when you... When you think of Joan Collins, think of a long, cool drink. When you think of me, and think of her like a Tom Collins, a long, cool drink. When you think of me as a river. It's flat and the mouth runs over, okay? So, leave her there. It's her favorite position. Anyhow, I am very grateful to the person, Indiana, who sent me the newspaper, and to the Star Tribune, I am sending the editor a dozen roses for him himself and a year's supply of Alpo for his seeing eye dog for the mistake. Okay, so stay tuned. We have William Shatner, Mary Hart, El DeBarge, and Inez de la Cringent. So be right back.
The Late Show is brought to you by Four-Way. Fortify yourself with the breathing relief of Four-Way nasal spray from Bristol-Myers, and by Long V for hair that smells as beautiful as it looks.
Come and see us, and we would love to have you come and see us. Please send a self-addressed stamped envelope to The Late Show, Fox Television Center, P.O. Box 7800, North Hollywood, California, 91608, and we're sending them out as fast as we can. And we're answering mail, which is really coming in a lot, as fast as we can. Isn't that nice? Now, on to the show. Well, it's nice when people write in, you see bags of mail, and you go, oh, isn't that nice? And then they say, you answer it, idiot, and you go, oh, well, not so nice. But we're getting to that mail fast. Now, very excited. As I said, this morning we went to see Star Trek 4. It's just a wonderful, wonderful movie. It's dedicated, by the way, to the Challenger crew, which is very nice, and it's got a lot of things that the usual Star Trek movie doesn't have. A little more heart, I think, and a little more sensitivity, not just sci-fi. But many of you who watch T.J. Hooker will be happy to know that my next guest is traded in his Buick again for another starship. He'll be returning, this is what they asked me to read, and I will indeed, as Admiral Kirk, an actor who is worth the trek, the star of the new movie I thought that was clever. An actor who is worth the trek, the star of the new movie Star Trek 4. Will you please welcome Mr. William Shatner?
Thank you. I've been cooped up all day with these interviewers, and we've been doing massive interviews.
Yes.
I've been one-on-one with people for days, and to see more than one person in a room is overwhelming.
Isn't that great? Look at this, look at this.
Large band, large audience,
But
thank you.
isn't it great when you're doing interviews on a thing you know is a hit? There are no apologies in your
Well,
interviews. You can sit back and...
I'd like to talk to you in a couple of weeks, and the movie opens the 26th.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's just wonderful.
Thank you.
But don't you feel it? Don't you know it in your heart somewhere?
Kinda.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a little sneaking feeling people are going to come and see it.
What happened? Because I thought Star Trek was on for years and years and years and years and years, a series,
Well,
and
it was.
wasn't. How many years?
It was on national television for 3 years. We made 3 years of episodes, but it then began to went into syndication. It was canceled and went into syndication and played and played and played. So some people think we've been doing them for years, but in fact, we stopped 17, 18 years ago.
But I mean, why only 3 years? That amazes me, that it only lasted for 3 years.
Well, like any series on the air, it went off. Enough people weren't watching.
And then just got a whole other life going.
Well, I think the mystery is somewhere in syndication and an earlier hour, and somehow people began to watch it, and then it became cumulative, and people watched it and watched it again and again.
And know all the episodes, know all the dialogue.
I met a guy drove me someplace in a car, and he said, "Stop the car." And he said, I gotta talk to you. And I said, I was in Vietnam, yeah. He said, "You saved my life." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I was captured, and it was worse than those terrible movies you see where you're incarcerated and terrible, terrible things." And half a dozen of the men with him. And they began to play a game to keep themselves alive called the Star Trek game. And they all knew the episodes. And somebody would start off with some line. Another guy would then join in with another line. They'd do whole episodes. And they kept themselves alive for 2 years playing the Star Trek game, and we were both crying by the time he finished. Tears rolling down our eyes. It was a beautiful moment.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's just lovely. Have they ever made a Star Trek game? You could have cashed in on that story. A little tears
You're
go
terrible.
by.
You're terrible. How can you be so bad?
You could split it with him. You give some to the VA hospital.
It's not working.
I look at you, and your great success, besides T.J. Hooker and everything, but and Star Trek, but you started out as a very serious actor, and you were wonderful in Andersonville and things like that.
Oh, thank you.
Do you ever get a little frustrated because they all know you now as, Captain Kirk, and do you think, no, I can do other things?
No, I just tell them,
Hell with you guys.
I can do other things. Attention.
Do you try to balance, like you're doing Star Trek, do you go off to do another Andersonville trial?
Well, the Star Trek thing for us, the people in the cast, we were in it 20 years ago. It stopped, it was syndicated, played, and then they began to make movies about 10 years later. And we make a movie every year and a half, 2 years. So there isn't really that much affiliation. I, as you mentioned before, was on T.J. Hooker for 4.5 years, and I made 2 of those films during that period. So I guess I'm identified with it. There's no question about that, but I have done a lot of other things.
What about Leonard Nimoy? Now, I don't know if you're friends or you're not friends. Everyone thinks if you work together, you're friends.
We're wonderful friends.
All right, but do you go to each other's house for dinner? Or you like
We're not that good friends.
No, so you're friends. Yeah. No,
We're friends.
I mean, you're friends,
Yeah.
but you're not like, where are you going this afternoon?
No.
All right. How did he directed the last 2 Star Treks?
The last 2 Star Treks, yes.
Now, you're a very good actor.
Yes.
Do you, well, yeah.
Hey, it's her show. Am I going to deny what she says?
What do you do when he comes up to you and says, "Bill, that last take, it stank"?
I said, "What do you know?" Oh, you think you're a director? You're an actor. I talk to them like that. They understand.
You're going to direct the next one, right?
You better not talk to me that way.
Have you directed before?
Oh, many times. I directed a lot of film on television and a lot of theater. But Leonard is a wonderful director.
Oh, I know.
And a wonderful mind, and we have a great time together.
You started out in New York as a theater actor,
Yes.
right? Yes, me too. We all, we'll talk. Yeah. Now,
And here we are.
And here we are. I'm behind a desk checking, counting flowers. But it's the cheapest thing you've ever seen.
No.
But
At least you got them. The other guy doesn't get them.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Let me do a commercial. And now a word from your Magnavox Universal Remote. It controls your Magnavox TV and virtually any VCR and cable system. Now that's control. We'll be right back to discuss that. Okay. Talking with William Shatner. Now, you started... Did you do well quickly as an actor, or did you...
No,
I struggled a lot.
It was like the Spirit of St. Louis getting off the runway. It was just slowly getting up.
And especially in New York, it's so
New York was tough. Of course, I started in Canada. I don't mean to throw you for a loop.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I started there, and it was a struggle. I had to survive.
Is that when you took extra jobs, like we all did?
Well, no. I have been... Sorry. Your notes are wrong. I never really did anything else but act. And when I wasn't acting, if I didn't get an acting job, I did something else. I wrote or I directed. Or I was always connected directly with the theater. I never had to do those things. Of course, I had to survive in other ways.
Such as?
Well, I had to eat. One of the tricks that we actors had devised, and I don't know whether I should tell this to America at large, because
nobody's watching us.
Oh, that's true. I did read the ratings. I'm only joking.
You can say it because it's a joke.
Okay.
Go ahead. We're beating a lot of people. I'm not going to mention names. Go ahead.
In New York.
And Chicago.
Oh,
Let's not discuss this. It's so pushy. And San Francisco. Go ahead.
Oh, my. What else?
Detroit. Go ahead.
Detroit, too? That's all the major markets.
Gracious in victory. Go ahead. Go ahead. So go on.
You needed a pencil. You needed to flip a pencil. Well, as actors, you had to survive. So, I mean, one of the things we would do, this was passed down from father to son, this kind of information. So I'm passing it on to you, my daughter. You'd go into a grocery store, and you'd get a carton of milk. In those days, it was a quart of milk, a bottle of milk, and you'd drink the milk in the store. Furtively looking around, drink the milk quickly. You now have an empty bottle or carton. You fill the carton up with whatever you have and eat it quick. Peanut butter, mayonnaise, jam, a little bread, and stir it all up and eat. And you could have a whole meal in a grocery store and walk out with having paid for a carton of milk. This was, of course, in the old days.
In the old days. We don't do that now.
I hope not.
No. Now, you just said daughter to me, not meaning me. But you have 3 daughters, right?
I do indeed.
Are they as good-looking as you?
Oh,
you're a good-looking... You know you're a good-looking man. Come on.
You call me talented, you call me...
Yes, but you know it.
I'm going to explore strange new worlds with you.
Sure. They all say that and then they go home.
Well, you have other guests.
Are you worried about them in this town being hit on? Because I heard you were a wild man when you were single.
You got the strangest notes I ever saw. I am kind of worried, but I've taught them karate. And I've taught... No, they can handle themselves, and it isn't really that bad. I mean, come on. It's the same in any industry. Men are chasing women, and it's up to women to do what they have to do.
Tell how...
You know about those things.
Sure. Tell about how you met your wife, how you proposed to your wife, and then we want to show the clip.
You want to show the clip of my wife and me?
Well...
You have cameras in the strangest places? And the notes and the cameras. You sneak anything for this show. Well, I don't know what to tell you now. But Marcy and I were in a show together called the Andersonville Trial.
Right. Oh.
And she was working behind the camera. I was working in front of the camera. And I kind of had eyes for her. And one day I lured her into a closet, ostensibly to run my lines. And I said, would you run my lines for me? Enter this closet. And we sank to our knees in a moment of passion, and the janitor opened up the door to get the mop, and there he found us on our knees. I don't know what he thought, but...
In the closet.
Yeah, I guess he was coming to mop up or something.
Most of my friends come out of the closet to make love, but that's... Well, I just thought of that. Well, not great. Now, tell us about the clip, because that's why...
The clip?
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'd rather do? I'd rather tell you after the clip, because I don't know what
show us the clip. All right, show us the clip.
I feel like Monday Night Football after the clip.
Star Trek.
Excuse me. Do you mind stopping that noise?
And I hope you're blue too.
Admiral, may I ask you a question?
Spock, don't call me Admiral. You used to call me Jim. Don't you remember Jim? What's your question?
Your use of language has altered since our arrival. It is currently laced with, shall I say, more colorful metaphors. Double dumbass on you, and so forth.
You mean the profanity?
Yes.
That's simply the way they talk here. Nobody pays any attention to you unless you swear every other word. You'll find it in all the literature of the period.
For example?
Well, the collected works of Jacqueline Suzanne. The novels are Harold Robbins.
Ah, the Giants.
You were great in that.
Oh, let me explain that clip.
You were really great.
We were on a bus, you see, and we returned to the 20th century in order to fix something. And we get into problems with the 20th century. We actually wandered around San Francisco on location in our wardrobe, and nobody paid us any mind. We melted right into the background there.
Now, when are you going to, the movie opens?
The 26th of November in some 1,200, 1,400 theaters around the country.
Well, it's just going to be such a success, and please come back again. Thank
Please
you
ask
so.
me.
Oh, you're just wonderful. We'll be right back with Mary Hart, El DeBarge, and Anise de la Frenson after these messages of interest. Okay.
Hi, I'm Mayor Roy West of Richmond, Virginia. Good morning, America.
And good morning to all of you. I'm David Hartman.
And I'm Joan Lunden. It is Wednesday, November 19th.
It was 1 year ago that President Reagan and the Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev first met in Geneva. When the president came home, he told our Congress about their mutual commitment to arms control.
We are both instructing our negotiators to hasten their vital work, and the world is waiting for the results.
In just a few minutes, we'll talk with the Soviet Union's chief arms negotiator about where negotiations stand at the moment. And then we'll take a look at a new study that says it's not just top management that suffers from stress on the job.
Also this morning, we are going to continue our visit aboard the Starship Enterprise as we talk to the Star Trek crew and Senator Barry Goldwater. Some thoughts on today's headlines as he leaves the Senate. And then a little later on, AIDS education. What should our children know and when should they learn about it? Also, we'll talk with Tempest Bledsoe of The Cosby Show and actress Jacqueline Suspicion series. Right now, though, it is 7:30 and Kathleen Sullivan has the news for us. Kathleen, good morning. It is now 8 minutes before 8 and time to get on board the Starship Enterprise for part 2 of my talk with the Star Trek cast. This is the same cast that's worked together all these years in the Star Trek TV series and all the movies, but now they will not be part of the brand new Star Trek TV series that is being planned. So how do they feel about that?
When I first heard about it, all I thought was, and I was so surprised later at my reaction, all I could think of was, free at last. Free at last, thank God Almighty. I thought the burden of being a whore for 20 years, you know, it's finally over. They're going to do something new, and you don't have to worry about it. And then that was the good news. The bad news is that they're going to keep us around to do all the movies. You know, I said,
you know, the next 100 years would certainly have progress and advances much more accelerated than, well, even in 1,000 years in our past history, so that world will be quite different. And, you know, the story possibilities that could be explored with Gene Roddenberry's imagination, integrity, and humanity, I think it'd be very exciting. But it certainly would not be our Star Trek.
All right, 2 programs. City on the Edge of Forever and Trouble with Tribbles. These seem to be the most popular with the real Trekkies. What do you think it is about those 2 episodes that just really seem to hit home?
I know for myself, watching City on the Edge of Forever, I was really very touched. It transcends the genre and becomes just a very human story that anybody can relate to. a love story.
With the A-bomb and with their V-2 rockets to carry them, Germany captured the world.
Oh.
And all this because McCoy came back and somehow kept her from dying in a street accident, as she was meant to.
No, Jim.
Deliberately stopped me, Jim. I could have saved her. Do you know what you just did? He knows, Doctor. He knows.
I was very touched by the whole story and the very tragic ending to the story. So it's just a beautiful love story, I think.
All right, how about the trouble with tribbles?
I got to bring the sweet little furry things on. I think it may be one of the first times we did a show with animals, or at all, and talk about an animal in the future. But it was also the first comedy we did. The first time that humor was really, really introduced to Star Trek.
You running a nursery, Lieutenant?
Oh, Captain. Well, I hadn't intended to, sir, but the Tribble had other plans.
Does anyone else have a favorite episode? If you could just save one.
The naked time.
Oh, is that your favorite? He has impeccable taste.
Beware.
We realized what we wanted to be or do, and of course Sulu was a 17th century swashbuckler, and he kidnapped...
grabs Uhura and says...
I'll protect you, fair maiden.
And she said...
Sorry, neither.
That line, I think, slipped by a lot of people, particularly on the early hour.
You had some wonderful words, I think, from Martin Luther King, did you not, about your role? Didn't he say some very nice things?
Yes, yes. He told me that it was important what I was doing. It was a point in time when I met him when I was dissatisfied with the role, with the cuts that were coming, you know, with my part being cut a lot. And he said, no matter how small that role becomes, you're 10 feet tall. He says, because you represent not only black people and a breakthrough, he said, you represent womanhood and you represent the future. He says, you're doing this for all of us. And it gave me a new insight to my character and a new insight into the interplay and what I thought and felt about all of the people that I worked with.
And they're all really a great group, and yes, that was Joan Collins with Captain Kirk in that one scene, and William Shatner will be with us tomorrow for part 4 of our series. Right now it's 56 after, and we'll be back right after this.
Next hour, Jacqueline Smith. Tomorrow, Farrah Fawcett. Defending his decision to make secret contacts with Iran. Good morning, I'm David Hartman.
And I'm Joan Lunden. It is Thursday, November 20th.
Last night, the president met with reporters on national television. He answered questions about his now controversial dealings with Iran. How are people reacting to the president? We're going to ask journalists all across our country and abroad.
Also coming up, Dr. Tim Johnson will introduce 2 medical pioneers in the battle against AIDS. We will meet William Shatner as my series of reports on Star Trek continues. Then a little later on, Farrah Fawcett and the brave woman she plays in a new movie. Also, John Stossel's special series continues with a report to help us pick out the right...
Good Morning America is brought to you by Pure and Natural.
Well, a concern over AIDS, it is not surprising. A lot of researchers around the world are now working very hard to try to find the causes of this disease and perhaps a cure for it.
Shatner, the admiral of the Starship Enterprise and Mr. Spock's best friend. And then if you think football games are just too long, we are going to meet someone who has some unusual ideas for shortening them.
Clear skies will prevent Shatner. After this, we'll be right back.
It is now 8 minutes before 8. All this week I've been visiting the crew of the Starship Enterprise. Today, the man who runs the ship, Admiral James T. Kirk, or William Shatner, if you will. William Shatner and the rest of his friends are back again in Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home.
Star Trek IV is, and I haven't seen it, is going to be wonderful entertainment. It's going to be lighthearted in many ways, amusing, very funny, and it's a whole other look at Star Trek and its people.
The use of language has altered since our arrival. It is currently laced with, shall I say, more colorful metaphors. Double dumbass on you, and so forth.
You mean the profanity?
Yes.
That's simply the way they talk here. Nobody pays any attention to you unless you swear every other word. You'll find it in all the literature of the period.
For example?
Well, the collected works of Jacqueline Suzanne. The novels of Harold Robbins.
Ah. The Giants.
With the character, Captain Kirk, how satisfied are you with the way the character has developed?
I'm quite gratified. What we're finding is that as the actors get older, that we write for that aging process. It's unique in the annals of entertainment, I think. That one of the Star Treks, I started to, I couldn't read too easily.
You opened this one. I'm almost afraid to. What is it? Klingon aphrodisiacs? No. Bones. This is charming.
For most patients your age, I usually recommend Retinox 5.
I'm allergic to retinox.
Exactly. Happy birthday.
I've been in front of the camera all my adult life and a good part of my life before I was an adult. And I can see the process, and it happens in front of my eyes because I'll tune into a show that was made 20 years ago, and you can see the difference, that what the things that age bring. And no amount of oil of Olay is going to eradicate it as much as we would hope for. So you have to kind of accept your age a lot. It's brought home more forcefully than in any other way.
You were a classical actor. I mean, you went to Broadway, then you were in the golden age of television, a lot of shows. Did you worry about the fact that people would see you only as Captain Kirk for so long? Was that a concern?
I guess it was for a long time. I seem to have mellowed out on it. Yes, Captain Kirk is a burden as well as a benefit. I haven't seen the people who have said, well, no, he's Captain Kirk. All I know is that I'm offered a great deal of work, and I do some of it, and so the benefits far outweigh anything that I could say detrimental.
Klingons call you a tin-plated, overbearing, swaggering dictator with delusions of godhood.
Is that all?
No, sir. They also compared you with that Danubian slime devil.
I see.
And then they said that you were...
I get the picture, Scotty.
Yes, sir.
And after they said all this, that's when you hit the Klingons.
No, sir.
What was it they said that started the fight?
They called the Enterprise a garbage scow.
You hit the Klingons because they insulted the Enterprise, not because they...
Well, sir, this was a matter of pride.
If all of a sudden the government said, okay, we're in need of celluloid, we're going to scrap all the old Star Trek series, except for one, you can keep one. Do you have a favorite?
No, what I would tell the government would be, take them all, we'll make them again. Let's do something new.
And the new Star Trek IV will be released next week. Star Trek is the brainchild of a man named Gene Roddenberry, and tomorrow you'll meet him. Right now it's 7:56, and we'll be back right after this from Stouffer's.
Next hour, Farrah Fawcett. Tomorrow, heavyweights, Trevor Berbick and Mike Tyson.
At the float barn of the Secret Santa Holiday Parade in Columbus, Ohio. Good morning, America.
Oh, and they're great. Good morning, everyone. I'm Joan Lunden. It is Friday, November 21st.
The Santa Bells.
That's right.
I'm David Burney, sitting in this morning for David Hartman, and it should be an interesting morning.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you here with us. This
Thank
is
you.
good
Well,
fun.
it's a pleasure to be here.
We have a lot of things
hope.
cooked up here this morning. And starting in this half hour, Las Vegas tomorrow night, the heavyweight championship of the world is online. It'll be Trevor Berbick versus Mike Tyson. In just a few minutes, we will take you live to Las Vegas, where Spencer Christian will introduce us to these two terrific boxers, and also to promoter Don King. And we will also hear from one of our country's most interesting and influential columnists, George Will.
Also this morning, we'll see Joan's conversation with Gene Roddenberry, the man who created Star Trek. Joel Siegel will have some great ideas for great weekends. And if you're interested in a cordless phone for your home or office, John Stossel will help you pick the right one.
Oh, good morning, everyone. This is Friday, November 21st. I'm Joan Lunden. I have a wonderful special guest here today.
David Burney, here with the lovely Joan Lunden. Don't look now, but the holidays are almost here, and the next few weekends will be filled with phenomena. After this.
Gene Roddenberry is the creator and producer of Star Trek. I met with this thoughtful, friendly man in his office at Paramount Studios. He had a lot to say about what we see on our television screens today, and of course Star Trek. Although the show was his idea, the network at first had ideas of its own.
If there is a truism in television, it is that no successful show ever gave a network exactly what it wanted. But that isn't because the networks are dopes or dunderheads. It's because of the different way an artist looks at things and the different way business people look at things. And that's as it should be. I'm sure Michelangelo had the same problem when he was doing his beautiful things.
What about the cast of the show? I'm told that NBC only wanted white males on the bridge, no women, no blacks.
When I brought in a mixed racial crew, both the network and Desilu Studios, which had it at that time, came in saying, what are you doing? You're going to ruin us. And then when I insisted on it, then the advertisers came in, the agencies, and said, if you show this black girl as an officer dealing with white people on that basis, you're going to be barraged with hate letters, and whole areas of the country are going to refuse to handle your show. And we often forget that's how the country was then. One thing that makes me love viewers and love the audience is that we never received in 20 years one single letter of that kind.
The pilot, the original pilot, was really a lot different from the shows that we know today, wasn't it?
Yes, the original pilot even had a different captain, Jeff Hunter, who was a fine actor. The only people that were in the original that stayed over was Leonard Nimoy, although he looked quite a bit different then, and he was not the emotionless Vulcan then. Yeah, he tended to grin and show nervousness in that first pilot.
Records show the tallest group has never been explored. Solar system similar to Earth, 11 planets. Number 4 seems to be Class M. Oxygen atmosphere.
It's hard to think about it now with all the success of Star Trek, but the original series that ran on TV was not that big a hit.
No, it was only with young-minded people. But we were quite a different United States then. One can over-intellectualize what we did on Star Trek, but we always told stories of action, adventure. There was always a want, a need, a goal, feelings. And we were the only show, for example, during all of the dreadful Vietnam affair only dramatic show that ever talked against Vietnam. But as in the case of Jonathan Swift, we set it on another planet.
If this planet is to develop in the way it should, we must equalize both sides again. Jim, that means you're condemning this whole planet to a war that may never end. It could go on for year after year, massacre after massacre. All right, Doctor.
Kirk playing essentially the role of our presidents in those years, where he'd gotten into it and he was having trouble getting out of it. And it's a pity. Vietnam would have ended many years sooner if it had been on dramatic shows on television, because the impact of these dramatic shows. I have 2 aunts, for example, maiden aunts. If Dr. Marcus Welby had come out and said something against Vietnam, my aunts would have carried placards.
Do you remember the 20th century brush wars on the Asian continent? It went on bloody year after bloody year. Well, what would you have suggested? The only solution is what happened back then. Balance of power.
Mass communications is our language today between one another. And we can't say, well, let's not really talk about anything serious on television. That is a criminal statement and a criminal intention. In my opinion, the audience is way ahead of our government leaders. I think the government leaders should catch up with the audience, and then we'd have 21st century dreams right now.
Many such journeys are possible. Let me be your gateway.
Captain, the Enterprise is up there. They're asking if we want to beam up.
Let's get the hell out of here.
Gene Roddenberry, a very creative and very nice man. We'll be right back.
Next hour, Dorothy Hamill and Scott Hamilton. Next week, Dynasties, John Porter.
Anticipated films of the season, Star Trek IV. The movie recalls the more lighthearted episodes of the classic TV series and is directed by Leonard Nimoy.
You're from outer space.
No, I'm from Iowa. I only work in outer space. Let's do our job and get out of here.
I'm coming with you.
You can't. Our next stop is the 23rd century.
Full power now, son. Shields at maximum. Steady. Hold on tight, lassie. Can we make breakaway speed? Oh, that's all I can give you. Warp 8. 8 good 1. Warp 9. Now.
I'll be right back with an
This isn't reality. This is